everyone. Welcome back to Fast Casual. I am super excited to introduce you to Denny, Senior VP and HR Learning Officer, and the Chief Learning Officer, Fasika Melaku. Fasika, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to meet you and to get to know everyone that's listening. I love it.
Awesome. So, for context, Fasika and I met at Prosper, which is one of my favorite restaurant shows to go to. We met in passing, and it just left a lasting impression on me. And I've been waiting to get her. Thank you. I mean, we've been wanting to get you on the pod for a long time. We're really excited about doing this.
Wow.
But before we jump in, I want to hand the mic back over to you. You've had over 20 years in HR experience in our industry. How has that journey been? What is your story? Give us everything that you can.
Absolutely. I will say this, the journey has been so fulfilling. And I read something this morning that says it's okay to live in the space of fulfilling and wanting more. But everything I have today, it's because of the restaurant industry. It is such a beautiful space. It opened doors for me that provided support for my mom, for my birth mother. I can't even say. For me to introduce myself to new beginnings, I am the SVP today because of the restaurant industry. Right? Because the restaurant industry saw me. I remember I started as a hostess and I could not believe, at Red Lobster, by the way, I couldn't believe that they were paying me to smile. Like paying me to smile. Like that's what you do. So I love it. I think we are one of the best industries out there to start. And I think we create access for people to grow. And I think that it's one of the things that I do what I do today. I love it.
You started off as a host, right? And
Yes.
our industry is littered with stories about CEOs, VPs who started from there.
Yeah.
But right, we don't have any data that talks about the amount of people that have left our industry. How do you think if you know if some think of yourself as someone who's listening to the pod, who's just getting into the restaurant industry,
Yeah.
how do they go from you know being a server or a team member or a line cook to get to how where you are?
I love that question. You are talking about mobility and you're talking about access. And I hope not only are the audiences thinking those servers, the people that are going to college or the people that are saying, hey, I want to know what I'm doing. So they're working as a server, host, cook, frying. I fried food too, right? I remember on the lines frying food, right? And I also saw managers. And my hope is also for this mobility question that we're talking to other SVPs of HR, other managers of HR, because here's the deal. The restaurant industry will meet you where you are. I really believe that. I believe that if you are working right now in the restaurant industry and you want to grow, you want to understand what that next level up is, go talk to your manager. There's access because you know what the restaurant industry cares about? It cares about people who want to engage and create an experience for the guests that walk in. Period. That's it. It's that simple. And so if you want to learn more because you're going to do that for your servers and cooks and you want to be a manager to help those servers and cooks, that's all you have to say is I'm in. Go to your manager right now. And if nothing happens, come to Denny's. Okay?
I love
Right?
it.
I mean, I'm sorry, I gotta add that, right? Right? And then to the others, what you're Rohan talking about is mobility, and that is what we have to do in order to keep a strong base, restaurant base. That's crucial. We have to make that happen. We do.
You know, access, like that word when you said it, I understand mobility, but access has a really large meaning. Um,
It
and,
does.
and we were talking about this just really briefly. Can you tell me what all would access encompass?
Yeah, I have a belief that everyone, right, wants to do something great. And I also have a belief that organizations today will only achieve their business impact through the people that they have. And it's about creating spaces of brilliance for them. That only happens if I have access to the tools to create spaces of brilliance. So does Fasika today have access to what she needs, right? Is it education? Is it well-being? Is it support? Is it coaching? Right? And the world is what it is. There are people that we employ at Denny's that don't know how to handle their first paycheck, that were never taught, how to handle a manager, that maybe go back home and don't have food, right? Or maybe they go back and they start working, they've got college that they've got to do online, right? The world is made up of I think, inherent people that are beautifully living their experience and their world. And as organizations, we have to give them access to be able to be great for us. And that means that they've got to be great for them as well. We've got to allow that space. So today, access for us, I think, is about making sure that they have a place they can go. They have a manager that understands they might need to talk to them in order for them to sell on the floor. Right, for them, they might need to talk to them about the issues they're facing. It just is what it is today. That's access to everything about creating a whole being experience.
All right, so now I understand the concept, right? But how do you, from an organization's perspective, from Denny's perspective, build that into your organization? How do you train your managers? How do you get it out to the thousands of employees that you have?
I think, I love that question, right? And often, like, even I see them looking at your face and you're like, but how do you do that? Like, oh my God, like, where everyone's looking for this. And I really think it goes down to a couple of key things. First, what is your organization's purpose? And is that purpose so clear and so tied that I see your values, right? And do I see myself in those values? At Denny's, we love feeding people body, mind, and soul. Are you kidding me? Feeding people. Like, I want to feed you. And do you know what's so interesting about that? It goes right to who I am. So I'm from Ethiopia. And the tribe I'm from, really, tribal, we eat together. We have one plate. Have you ever had food?
I have some.
You see? Okay, so that's so beautiful. Is that the mentality you have? Like, serious, it's just that.
Just FYI,
yeah.
My heritage and roots, we eat from, so the big plate that you guys eat from, we have a plate, a much larger plate. It's called a thal.
Oh, your plate's bigger.
And 9 people can eat from one single plate.
Yes.
It's the most communal, and it makes you feel like you belong when you go for a wedding. You don't know people that are around you, but you get up as friends.
But you do it. And look at the beauty that you just felt. And you know what? Look at the memory you had of that experience. Your face shined. We connected, like right? That's what happens. And here's what I will tell you. It's not hard. You can do that. Organizations can do that. It is about saying, what is my purpose, and does my purpose show the values we have? Because, and make sure it's the right values, and make sure, I think, that intrinsically people can see it. So that's the first step. The second step is language. I think language is so important, and embedding that language. So, you talk about Ethiopia, right? In Ethiopia, anywhere I go, anywhere I travel, if I see someone that's from Ethiopia, I better say hi. Or someone will know someone who will know my mom. And I may be old. I may have a 25-year-old daughter, but my mama is still, right? My mama, right? And so you have that language. We kiss 3 times on the cheek, right? We say hello. It doesn't matter what they're doing, if they're doing service, if they're flying a plane, whatever the case is, it is naturally known. That is our language. What is your language in your organization? Right? For us, it's the Denny's way.
Okay.
And that creates such a level of opportunity, because once you know the Denny's way, and you know how we can be obsessed with hospitality, you know how we drive execution, once you have that language, that helps create access. And then guess what? That language is taught whether you are a server, whether you clean floors, whether you are a VP. It don't matter. Title doesn't matter. So let's just talk, right? You've got a purpose, and that purpose intrinsically is for everybody. And I can see myself in that purpose. You then have language that is taught and shared. It's not kept secret because you're a VP or you're a manager. It's not kept secret because you've clean floors. No, everybody knows it. Everybody knows the Denny's way. And then it's about your network. What's your ecosystem like? How do people learn when they first walk in to your brand? When they start to see your brand online, what do they learn? What do they see? Can they feel it? Can they see it? And then it's about doing it again and again and again, 7 times, 7 different ways, so they really believe. And I think that's so beautiful for me because that's when rituals are created, right? So you have a ritual, right? You talked about going to weddings and what your culture does and what your family. I have rituals too. And you know, I think I told you I have a son that's 4, and I've wanted him for so long. And the world told me I couldn't have him for so long because of my past medical issues. And he came into this world. And so today I get to create rituals for him.
Oh,
and
that's
I get
amazing.
to create that as mama, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that is so connected for me. And so for us, since I've been at Denny's, we've had several rituals. Every quarter we get together. It's our brand elevation conference. You know, you talk to someone who's been around since I've been there 9 years. Every quarter we're going to talk. We're going to engage. And we're going to do it even if we have to do it virtually. We have to watch our money and bring in pizza, or we get to go to a steakhouse. But we do it. And so they believe in it. And I think that is what helps create this experience, that brilliance can shine, right? And so when you looked at me and said, how do you do it? How do you do it?
All right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you the same question, but from the view of a shareholder, right? Because
Okay.
shareholders want to see it in terms of measurables, right? How do you
Yeah.
measure it? How how do you put a number to it?
Yeah.
How do you show
Yeah.
that? All right, it's great,
All right.
right?
All right.
It's
You want me to
great.
say it?
I'm not saying it's bad. It's great, but
Yeah.
right, how
Yeah.
does it benefit me as a capitalist?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let's talk.
Okay.
Let's talk. So when I started at Denny's, our team member training was at 46%. And when we looked at what the guests thought of us, right? There's this company called Black Box Intelligence. They
I know
aggregate
them.
all the reviews. You know them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So then know this. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
I
We
love it.
started at Denny's at 15%.
All right.
15% in service. That's when they pulled all the Google reviews. When we started, right, trying to create this culture, when they pulled all the Google reviews, we were last. We were last place. Last place, sorry, to Waffle House. Sorry, Waffle House, I love you. Last place. We were last place to Chili's, last place to Cracker Barrel. We were last place. We're in a segment that we call family dining, right? So you have IHOPs, you have all the places to be. That's where we are, right? 15%. Ask me. Just ask me where we are today. Please just ask me.
Well, where are you today, Fasika?
57%.
Hallelujah.
Our service rating is 57%. Ask me where fine dining is.
Where is fine dining?
51.
No.
Shut up, Denny's.
That's
Shut up.
amazing.
And it's not me, listen, it's not me aggregating it. It is an outside
I
organization
love it.
that we pay. So does IHOP, so does Cracker Barrel, so does Fine Dining. 400, almost 500,000 other restaurants pay for this organization to look at their data. They look at data in beautiful ways, right? They look at people data, they look at finance data, they look at all of that. So here's what I will tell you. When everyone says what you're doing, right, what you talk about, all that is all fluffy, fluffy. No. What that does, humans drive performance, period. Unless you are a mechanic, an organization that is built with robots, right? All robots, like everybody, even the CEO, right? Unless you are that, right? The only way stakeholders will see performance move is through people. The only way you're going to do that today is to be intentional and create
Okay.
spaces for brilliance to thrive.
All right.
We would not have gotten to this.
Sorry, I like the fact that you're saying it, but all right, let's put you. I'm going to put myself in the position of like a multi-unit franchisee, right? We work with
Yeah.
hundreds of them,
Yep.
right?
Yep. We do
Um,
too. Yeah.
you can do because you're Denny's. You have the money. You are a franchisor. How do I do it with my 10 locations? How do I do it at my level of running
Well,
my business?
first, can I say this? Denny's is built, we've got 97% franchisees. We have over 210 franchisees, right? So the story I told you is not Fasika alone. It's not Denny's. In fact, I would say we only have 64 restaurants. Oh, that's all. We only have 64 restaurants. And Denny's is quite unique, right? Like I'm a little jealous of Applebee's, right? Applebee's has like 20 owners. They could put all their owners in a table and say, oh, let's do this, we need to change it, all of it's done, right? Because as your owners go, so do you. So here's what I would say. Yes, Denny's has incredible owners that have been wonderful partners with me, right? I can tell you, the DFA board, David Bechet, I can name the individual owners, Clyde, Garen, I can name all of them, Frank, Carl, Sam, people that I know firsthand that together we've done this journey. But if what you're saying is, what about those individual franchisees that maybe don't have a network like Denny's, maybe aren't with a best-in-class franchisor like we are?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
like that?
yeah. I love that.
All right. So here's what you do. Remember, if you've got 10 restaurants, the number one way you can create consistency, you could do everything that we just did, is through your general managers. The only way, right? So whether you have one restaurant and you are the general manager, you got it. You can still make it happen. You can still create a place of brilliance. You can still make sure you have the right language, right? And consistent language. You can still make sure you have an ecosystem of access. That means, do you have pre-meetings? Do you have meetings once a month, once a week, once a month, right? Once a quarter? When do you get together with your people to engage in business, empower them, make sure they understand business, what is happening to your business, what do you want to move, where do you go, bring them in. What is your purpose? Everything I said, you can still do. You don't have to have fancy.
It sounds like essentially you're saying inclusivity for your managers, right? Bringing them in to understand where you're at, what the thought process is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm still saying with one restaurant that you own or 10 restaurants you own, you can still have a purpose. And your purpose can still illustrate your values. And those values will help you create money and bring in guests. You can still have the right language. What is the language, right? At that moment of truth when a guest is saying X, what do you want your server to think about, or your person, right, to think about? How do you want them to make their decisions?
Right.
That language drives that. You have that in one restaurant. You can have that in 10 restaurants, in 1,000 restaurants, or in 50,000 restaurants. It's a consistent application. The next thing is, how often do you meet with your team to give them feedback and thoughts? So just those three things, right? And what that looks like. That's all we did at Denny's to bring that.
I love it.
Right? One
Yeah.
person, 10 people, or 3 people, you still create that brilliance.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. I want to talk about when I met you for the first time, the Go Beyond initiative. Can you dive a bit deeper?
Yes. So, every organization is trying to climb this mountain right now, right? And it's a political mountain. This D&I space, creating belonging, all of that. Some people don't even want to say they're doing it, all that good stuff. Here's where I tell you I've always been uncomfortable. And know something about me. I am adopted. My birth mother obviously looks like me. She's a beautiful Ethiopian woman. She's amazing. And my adopted mom is a white American woman. And she's beautiful as well. Like, they met in Ethiopia. They have a beautiful story. That's for another time. The reason I tell you that is diversity and belonging was different for me because of the way I was born, right? I grew up in Africa, came here halfway. People thought I was, right? I remember when I went into my high school, the high school before I got here had a meeting the day before because everybody wanted to know, what was this African going to look like? Like, was she going to be scared? Like, they had a meeting before I got there. I still remember this 25, maybe 30 years ago. So why I say that is because we have always felt like creating belonging and inclusive practices is really about humanity. That's it. And so what we decided to do is say, we're going to go a little bit different. You're not going to see the normal 1 hour bias class. You're not going to see the normal 1 hour allyship class or 2 hours or 1 day. That doesn't do it. That doesn't change behavior. That doesn't help me go deep in how I was born, how I was raised, the experiences that I have, because all of that formed my beliefs. And the
Right.
beliefs I have drive my actions. It is that simple. So how 1 hour can't change my beliefs in how I should treat you, right? And what that should happen. So what we did was created a 30-day experience. And we said, let's experience humanity together. And by the very experience of humanity with the people we work with, can we build bridges of understanding? Right? And those bridges of understanding, once done, can that create an environment of belonging, inclusivity, bold conversations? And so that's what we did. For 3 years now, we've taken 30 months and all experienced this go beyond. Every day we read, we engage in conversation, we have little activities that help us reflect on our past stories, what those beliefs mean.
Can you give me an example of an activity? Like 1 or 2 examples of what activities look like.
Yeah, so I'll tell you one that was so interesting. The first one we did is there was one that we sat down, and a lot of them are self-reflection and then we talk, right? But it asked you to list out it had like 10 different, people in your life, like a doctor, like, your pastor, your church, different examples, your best friends and so on. And then it asks you to list out the different races. It asks you to lift out the different occupations, the different places they were born, the different places, right? So you started to see your ecosystem and how you lived. Several things we know, right? We all gravitate to comfort and what we see and what we know.
That is so
how we
cool.
do it. And it's so interesting in how that also is reflected to who we try to hire.
Oh my God,
Right?
that is so cool.
And
I'm thinking of it in my head too. This is amazing.
are you? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Like who do you go break bread with?
Yeah.
Right? What does that look like? And who are the people that are around you? And you start seeing intersections in who I am most comfortable with. And you start seeing intersections from home to work, right? Who do I ask for coffee? Who will I go grab drinks with? Who will I say, hey, you know what? I was invited to this meeting right here, but you should be too, right? Then you start seeing natural allyships because it's a world where we're connected. So when you start creating spaces where we can comfortably talk about it, not at a meeting that was for bias, and so I can't tell you who's my doctor. I can't tell you who my friends are. Why would I tell you that? Because then you're going to judge me.
Yeah.
If I only have white friends, you're going to judge me because I'm black and I only have white friends. If I only have Indian friends because I grew up right in Kenya and I love Indian food. My best friend is Indian, right? That my husband's best number one friend is Indian. You're going to judge me? So I only have Indians and I'm black. Or I decide to, right, I only have friends that have afros and I'm wearing, right, I don't have an afro, right?
Right.
Right? That's what life is, right? That's where it is. And so Go Beyond says, let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about who I am, what I do, and what's my story. And my story creates my beliefs, and those beliefs walk into the office with me. There's no question about it. And so how do we unpack those beliefs so that we can do good work?
I think this is one of the best examples I've ever heard. Because is it too much to ask you to give us one more example of what you guys do as without giving away too much?
Yeah, no. I think one of the things too that we do is we ask everyone to write out their story. Right?
Okay, what does that mean?
Everyone to write out their story. So there's a little storyline, and in those stories, there were multiple times where the world threw us a rocket, right? Threw us a bomb, and when I get to share with you, right, in that beautiful storyline, I get to share with you my bomb in an authentic way, right, in a safe space where maybe I felt the world bombed me, or maybe I bombed the world, or I let somebody down. There's something something that happens with that. And what we do is we shine a light, because so often we look in the mirror and we start reflecting on what we did wrong, how we did it. And we don't celebrate those opportunities. We don't celebrate those opportunities for learning. So we try to take something that says, in my life, and I'll start with me, and I can tell you, and I share all the time the learning experiences that I have, right? In my life, there are some times where I drop the ball. I dropped the ball on my mom, I dropped the ball on my family, and that's who I am, and it's still who I am today. And so how can I unpack that to build resilience in a beautiful way? How can I do that? And then how can I share that resilience with others, right? So we first start with leaders, we make it really safe, and we go from there. But it's this beautiful storyline that people get to write their stories, and I get to write a story of triumph. I get to write a story of sorrow. I get to write a story where I have a bomb, and then I get to celebrate it, and I get to be okay with it, and I get to flip the script, right? You get to flip the script, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I can also imagine how someone feels that camaraderie, that sense of belonging with each other when you're in such an environment, when you're discussing and you're writing, and you come together, right? And I think that also helps bring people together at an organization perspective.
Absolutely, because when I get to tell you why I might be ashamed, when I get to tell you and how that made me feel when I didn't, when I'm ashamed of letting my mom down, when I get to tell you the sorrow I have, or the fact, that I got to share with the team that I wanted a baby. And I wanted a baby so bad that I didn't know if I could keep going, because motherhood was something that I really wanted. And when you get to share that experience, right, not knowing what's going to happen before, I didn't know Jackson was going to come, right? Jackson today is my 4-year-old. I didn't know he was going to come. But when you share that authentically, people see it. People see it, and then something happens. Because then when we are ready to work on something magnificent for the organization, you know who I am. Then when I mistakenly forget to add you to a meeting, you know who I am. It was a mistake. It wasn't labeled because you are black or white, or I hate you, or I don't like you, or you're brand new, or I don't see significance in you. It was a mistake.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, so what does someone do who's in a smaller organization, right? They don't have the team as yet. They're listening to this conversation and they're like, I can pick up these things. I can do these initiatives, no matter how small they sound, to go ahead and do it. How do you get buy-in from, owners or CEOs who don't have the time to invest in it, but are okay for people to do it if it doesn't cost too much money? Okay. How do you start?
So, how do you start? First, I think in fact, I was just talking I texted my CEO today, and we were talking about something significant for our brand. And one of the things we were talking about is my husband last night was talking to me about day one. Right, my husband is a 33-year clean and sobriety, right? So, I'm not outing him. If anyone out there is in sobriety, he knows I'm not outing him, but that's just who he is, right? That's how he lives his life, and it's a beautiful life, right? It's a beautiful life, and how he keeps sober and drug-free, alcohol-free today. And one of the things that they talk about is it's just 24 hours a day. It's just 24 hours a day. So the first thing I would say, right, is day one's today. Forget all day ones today. So start small, right? Go back to those 3 things that I say any organization has. What's your purpose? Start there, right? And if you want to build a business case, right? If you want to build a business case, you need to build a business case. Remember, don't look for the shiny. This doesn't have to be, right, $1,000. You can do this if you only have $5 to put towards it for a connection event, and you're going to bring in donuts, right, for that group. You can do all of this with $5. You can do all of this with 1,000. You can do all of this with 100,000, right? So don't get lost in it. I would tell you, get your purpose. What is the purpose? Talk. Go to YouTube. There's so many things out there that will help you understand the purpose. Call me, DM me, right? I'll help you with the purpose. I'm not, it's seriously, right? Don't get lost in shiny, right? Go for it. This is a human organization. This is a human driven organization. And we can do so much remembering that and not getting lost in the shiny. It is one connection with the other, right? So do your purpose, get your language, no money needed for that. Bring your team together consistently and create rituals. Purpose, language, right? Bring your team together.
That's it. Start small. I love it. All right. Who do you look to for inspiration? Who do you read? Who do you watch? What is, if you had to send someone to learn from the path of the internet, right? Where would you go?
So I love that. I love that question. Here's what I would say. At Denny's, we have something called Breakthrough Leader. And this idea is there's a leader in all of us, right? And so I truly, this is authentic. I do have some people that I go to consistently, but here's what I would say. Have an open lens and you will always have something to learn. Have an open lens, you will always have something to learn. Whether it is from the server that you had, whether it's from the barista you had, whether it is, I was at Disney and this is the first time I was at Disney. Like I'm old and this was the first time I'm at Disney. And I walk into Disney and I'm like, oh my God, it's so clean. And I remember looking at Disney and talking to this young lady who was going around cleaning. And she was so profound in how she engaged in conversations. I still remember her today. And I asked my team to integrate some of her language into how we're thinking about supporting Denny's and our cleanliness push, right? I asked her, I don't know where she is. I don't know what she's doing today, right? But literally she was cleaning. Like we literally 3 weeks ago just came back from Disney, right? We had one day at Disney, and I learned from her. And her words of wisdom are entering into how we engage with Denny's, our 70,000 team members, and how they think about cleaning from Disney. So here's what I would say. If you know your purpose, then you have an opportunity to decide who you're going to go see. So if you go into who I look at a lot of people that share my same purpose. I also have a network of beautiful friends. I go to them first. I was actually writing a LinkedIn post. Literally, I haven't written it yet. I haven't posted it yet. Nadira is my right hand, left hand executive assistant. She went to church the other day. And in church, she said, Fasika, I have something profound I listened to. She goes, do you know we only have 4,000 weeks in this life? And there's a book. 4,000 weeks in this life. I'm like, wait a minute. I only have 4,000 weeks. I want more. And when did 4,000 weeks start? When did it start? And how do I look at that? So I'm literally crafting. So who do I look at? Where do I go? How do I do it? And do you know who my network is? It's my amazing sister-in-law, Nicole Melaku, who's a badass. She drives this beautiful, she works for a nonprofit, and they support immigrants when they come in. Her whole organization has 40 different immigrant support systems across 60 different places that she supports. Brings thousands of people together in how they can find a place at Denny's. What? Jill Littlejohn, amazing woman. Sims, these are friends around me that I see that I love every day. Brene Brown, love her. Love her. Right? Some of those people out there love the Obamas. Think about that. Love also 50 Cent. My team taught me how to talk about it. You know what? He's so beautiful in how he thinks about education. Jay-Z, so beautiful in how they think about education. They don't talk about it. They do it. Right? That's what I love. Anything that is attached to supporting people, find their brilliance, get education when they can't, know how to make things happen. That's where I go find my
inspiration. I love it. All right. So you don't have to go find,
No, it's not about sexy.
Yeah, you can get it from your neighbor, you can get it from the team member or your GM. I love it. All right. Since you brought 50, I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions. Right?
Woo!
Are you ready? What
Yes,
is
I'm ready.
Okay, for this year, what is your favorite music track?
I love John Legend.
Which
I
track?
love John Legend. Well, he has, I think it's called Legend, right?
Okay.
He has, like, right? So, yeah. So, Legend, John, yes.
All right.
Yeah. That's
What did you binge watch last?
I binge. Oh shoot. Okay, it is a sci-fi. It's about this doctor. Residence.
Residence.
It's
I
a
need to sign
resident.
up. All right.
Yeah.
The last live performance you've attended.
Oh, um, what did I watch? The last live performance I attended, I think was, gosh, there's so many. What was the last one? Oh, it was for my son. It was Paw Patrol. Paw
Oh,
Patrol.
no.
They're on the double.
They
Paw
have a live
Patrol. I
performance?
know. I was trying to say you got me because I was looking for something fancy,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm like, well, actually, it was
Well,
Jeff.
I have to Google this because my son, man, that song. Have you heard the new Pop Pop Paw song?
No, there's a new one.
It's a earworm. Yeah, it's just stuck in my head. I
Okay.
I don't like it, but it's stuck in my head.
It's stuck in
Uh,
your throat.
okay.
They're on the bubble.
So there's one that goes Pop Pop Paws. It's a new track. I will send it to
I
you.
am.
I'm going to send it to you
All
after this
right.
conversation. Your favorite QSR concept, current favorite QSR concept.
The current one. So you have to know this about me. My name's, but it's the chicken finger one. Right, it's a chicken finger. Do you know the
The,
chicken finger one? It's in Texas. It started in Texas. I love that. Slim chickens.
Slim
That's the one
chickens.
I love.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, slim chickens.
Your current favorite fast casual concept.
Fast casual concept. Chipotle.
Ah, nice. All right. And the last question, the brand to watch out for in 2024.
Denny's. No. What? Are you kidding me? We're going hard, going strong. That's the brand you watch out for. I'm just saying.
I love it. All right. Thank you for your time, Fasika. If anyone wants to reach out to you, where do they reach out to you at?
All right, LinkedIn is a beautiful spot. I'm always in LinkedIn. I am trying. I always say, so I'm not good with social, like, because my team's like, Fasika, it's not Instacart, it's Instagram. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to Instagram, right? So I started that, but LinkedIn is the best way. You can also email me directly. It's so easy. It's FMELAKU@dennys.com.
All right.
So just saying.
But do not spam her. But apart from that,
Yes, don't spam me. Yeah, no, we got that filter taken care of.
but thank you so much for your time. And hopefully we're gonna do a follow up to this podcast soon.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for bringing me together with you and shining a light on me. You're just so beautiful and supporting other people out there and shining lights on them and letting them tell their story. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.